Oh no. Oh my god. Hi. This is Watcher DM. I'm a Gabriel, and here we talk about a dungeon and a dragon. Um, and yeah, I like to do a little bit of digital painting. Um, and just kind of talk about D&D nerd stuff while I'm doing that. So if you like to talk about D&D nerd stuff, or if you like weird stuff, you should come and join us. Follow us on socials as Watcher DM. I think that's true everywhere except for Twitter, where we're Watcher DM1 for some reason. Um, and yeah, you can definitely interact with us. Any of our comments I read personally and usually pass around to the other writers and stuff. We make weird adventures for adventurous weirdos, and if you're one of those, you welcome home. That was really all I've got to say to you. So, I have been relatively active of late on the social media. And so I figured today we would start with another D&D Q&A. Because there were some fantastic questions today. Just super good. Super good. And so I feel like I got some pretty fun answers out. Yeah. Let's see here. I think. Ooh. Yep. An abstract painting. Avoid a portal. Amidst designing custom tattoos and working on Flash, I always like to have one painting going just for fun, just to express myself and enjoy. Rachel Napalm Giavasis on the internets is amazing artist, friend of mine from the Bay Area, does tattoos, super super cool. All right, I think today's messages start about here. So we'll go ahead and crack some of these open here in varying. Yeah, commented on, reacted to. Cool. Cool. Yeah, it's just a couple of answers. Thought they'd be fun. So Jean Bellier Simal, I think, is I would try and pronounce that. Probably fucked it up. You please feel free to flame me in the comments. 5e skills rule question. Hey there. So how do you guys deal with players who creatively use one skill their PC has to overcome their chance of success in another skill they have? I don't think the rules as written suggest much in that area. Give advantage, lower the threshold. Let's use the best skill among those relevant. Nothing special. Kind of like giving yourself the help another action, but with another skill. I know I can do what I want in my game. That's not the question. So example, I want to persuade the Archmage to help us. Persuasion, using my vast knowledge of magic, arcana, to explain the threat facing us all. Example B, I try to intimidate the orc. Intimidation, by having my trained bear roar aggressively, handle animals. That's pretty awesome. I try to sneak past the guards, stealth, by disguising myself as a peasant. Disguise toolkit skill. Those are generic examples. I don't want a ruling for each. They are just examples of to picture the question. So, usually, what I do is they say what they want to do. I want to learn about the aspect of fire, or in this case, I want to convince this archmage to work with us, and I ask them how they approach the task. So if they tell me that they want to do this other thing, like Arcana in this case, they want to use their vast knowledge or whatever, I ask them. In my example, I want to learn about the aspect of fire. I ask them how they approach the task. I ask the AVM scholars, and I use that answer to guide the play. Great. Roll a persuasion check to get someone to help you, then roll an arcana check to see if you understand what they say. Versus I find the librarian and learn how to find my way around the books. Okay, roll an investigation check. So kind of depending on their answer, I give them the roll. If the players are complaining about the skill that I chose, they're welcome to try and state their intentions differently. But by and large, just try to angle for success by working it to a good skill in a good way is a good way to get me to check your reasons for playing. Basically, like the the reason to do skill checks is not so that you succeed at skill checks. The reason to do skill checks is more to like find out how your character performs in that moment, right? Failure is a critical component of tension. And so, failure in many cases, I think, and a lot of DMs will agree with me on this one. Um, Failure is just more interesting. Look at Matt Mercer playing his character on the new Exandria Unlimited, and you must have caught those Wheaton the Will Wheaton bug, man, Matt, because oh boy, you were rolling some dirties. It was great though, and you played it well, right? Like I think being a GM, somebody who's often on the losing side of a battle, right? Like in terms of your roles and how they manifest in the game. Um, you get pretty comfortable with the idea of having very cinematic and fun failure. And your player character being the center of that is just as fun for us in many ways as it is to succeed as a player character. As in fact, it may be more rewarding because it usually offers more opportunities for storytelling. Whereas success usually results in the kind of conclusion, right, of that storytelling opportunity. So that was my answer to that question. I got a couple of likes, not a ton, but enough that I was like, well, seems okay, dude. So this one got 0, which is fine. But I like the question. So Alexander Aboud asked 23 hours ago, what do you suggest for adventure hooks when your PCs are a group of goblins? It's funny actually that you bring this up because we are literally working on a module right now that I have run a bunch of times called Goblin the Musical, in which a group of goblins gets booked for their first paying gig. It kind of plays out like the Blues Brothers with lots of shenanigans, crimes, and music. I set it in a fantasy monster shantytown that I have called the Swarm Pit, with a tavern called the Hangnail, run by Grimmy Bovine. But in actuality, in the module, I misspoke. The town is called Hangnail. The bar is called I think it's the Black Spot, or the Ink Spot, or something like that. And it's Jimmy something Rovine, I think, or something like that. Grimmy Rovine. A gross hobgoblin entrepreneur. The funniest parts include picking a band name, which is actually legitimately one of the funnest parts of that, is like having everybody sit around and be like, oh, what if we were called this? Like, monster names make great band names. In fact, Thorn Whip the Mimics, amazing band name. Like, who's making this music? I need to hear it. Figuring out the sound or look of the band, which is also legitimately super, super fun, especially when you get goblins going into spandex and like a really, really amazing stuff. The set list. So this is actually a really fun exercise of like everybody figuring out what their go-to song is, like what's our best song, and then you kind of have people being like, oh yeah, it's a parody of this song, like where they kind of tweak which songs do you want to parody basically throughout the adventure. And it's a great exercise just to get everybody thinking about taking another set of words and converting them to talk about your story or talk about your character's life is really, really fun. And getting to the show on time, which is, kind of the chase scene of the adventure. It's pretty fun. Not to mention the monster audience getting out of hand as the music takes them over the edge. This is part of kind of a bar fight scene that's really, really fun in that adventure, and finishes with, hey, where's our money? Hunting down Grimmy to get your door percentage. So yeah, just answering a question as to how I have handled that in the past, with a little bit of, I guess, promo a bit. Look out for Goblin the Musical coming to Watcher DM soon. Also, we are planning on having kind of a Goblin Week, like where we just kind of unveil a bunch of really fun goblin stuff that we've been thinking up. Basically, the thinking is goblins are often treated as kind of the lowliest, weakest, kind of lamest enemy in Dungeons and Dragons. And as player characters, they're pretty fun. They're very storied, but they don't really get like, I don't know how to describe this. Goblins are all just goblins. They're all just weird looking goblins. And if you look at like goblins from Pathfinder, for instance, or goblins from 5e, all the goblins kind of look the same to each other, which is okay, but I've always imagined goblins as being more varied, right, than humans are, like, and kind of collectivist in that, because they have so many children per parent coupling. So you could very easily end up with an entire clan of like cross eyes or fat lips, or clubfoots. Like you can kind of go into these extremes with the goblinoids and have them be like unique in ways that I think are really fun to explore. So we've been exploring that and just having a great time. This one was really fun. So, my God, yes, please. John Lancaster posted 23 hours ago a meme that is from Brave Crab, I believe, which is a fantastic username, by the way, Brave Crab, on You Playful Yet Bored, posted in our Tumblr. Pitch, a Muppet movie where the Muppets play D&D, and it cuts between the Muppets around the table and the fantasy being acted out, but instead of it just being the Muppets dressed up in D&D fantasy costumes, it's celebrity actors, but the Muppets do the voices, and the actors have to act how those Muppets would. Imagine a barbarian played by Jason Momoa, voiced by Miss Piggy. Genius. I commented, and this is probably completely unrelated, just because this is kind of what I was super into. I wanted to talk about this. This is actually a super awesome tool for any table, and I've used it before, as have many other DMs and D&D content creators. Fundamental idea is you are not making a D&D character, you are playing a character, making a character. So the most sanctioned example of this is probably Rick and Morty versus D&D, where you literally play the Smith family playing Dungeons and Dragons. Let me make sure somebody's not chatting to me on the other multi-channel. Okay, cool. We're good. But it works with any cast of characters. Muppets, Scooby-Doo, Care Bears, My Little Pony, doesn't matter. Alternately, you can take a theme. So for a campaign I ran called Mars Calls, we did kind of a John Hughes meets John Carter game, where everybody just made like a really simple 80s Breakfast Club kind of character, like somebody who would fit in the Breakfast Club universe. And then a D&D character that was the legendary Martian heroes that they were foretold to be. So when they got teleported to Mars at the beginning of the, in the beginning of the second act, whatever, all of a sudden, Karen the soccer mom was also Karen the Warforged barbarian. She spent more time rifling through her purse and bemoaning being around all these, college age students, than doing barbarian things, but it was some very on-brand rage moments, and it was just a ridiculous amount of fun. I think everybody who played in that game really enjoyed playing a Dungeons and Dragons character through the lens of a more two-dimensional or one-dimensional character trope. It kind of frees you up. For some reason, humans have this really, we are really good at imagining people as being simple, like other people. And so when we think about what another person would do, we have very easy answers. But when we think about how we want our character to act, it tends to be a little bit harder. So it can be a very cool tool for getting a lot more role play at your table. Achilles Alder on Dungeon Master Resources posted 6 hours ago. I'm going to do a full airship sandbox for my campaign. Has anyone done this? Any tips or advice on mechanics? And so I posted, I have done this in a campaign I called Heaven Sent. All flyers in the party, requirement because of toxic land. Make flight work against them in some ways. Flying is weakened by strong range attacks, bad weather, and nets. Make sure that places to land are not constant. They should really feel like their life depends on them being able to fly. And because you have no maps anymore, so because everything's you don't really need maps anymore. Like if everything's flying, right, it's relative motion. What's cool is you can actually take all your locations and you can just put them in a chart, right? Like you can arrange them in a chart, and then you can just change that arrangement kind of as you want. So it's really, really great for you. Like you can use a grid to kind of arrange how your stuff is, or you can hexagon map and just move the hex tiles around. And now you know how far things are. You can actually do some really complicated stuff with this that's going to be very, very fun. But just, and basically arrange them such that this place is on the way to that place, right? This encounter now fits here. And that way when they go anywhere, you can very easily control, not control, but find out where the story goes, I guess. For ship to ship, because I think that's probably. Oh, I'm sorry. Yes. So yeah, move those around every session or two. Dungeons should feel claustrophobic in this place, so play into how hard movement is while not flying. So like people who are flying become used to flying, and suddenly forcing them to be inside of kind of enclosed locations where flight works against them or doesn't work very well can be a fun. It's kind of a weird like side benefit to playing a flying campaign where everybody has flying. For ship to ship combat, I usually take a stat block based on the vessel's name. So this is just kind of an idea I've run a couple of times where like I don't know, maybe they say, "Oh, our ship is called the Flying Kraken," and you just like basically go grab the Kraken stat block, make sure the thing looks like it could be a siege thing, dial up, change some of the abilities, and then basically make those abilities on the stat block available to the party as a bonus action, but they can only get one per round, and so like any competition over what the command is for the vessel is kind of like a roll off, right? You like do a skill check to determine who wins the bonus action for the round, and it can be pretty fun. She gets some pretty funny stuff where like one party member wants to do one thing, another party member wants to do another. They have competing opinions about who should go first, and they get to let the dice find out which one of them won and which one's plan kind of gets executed. Mm-hmm. Oh, invoice is actually better. I need to start documenting all this crap. Yeah. Send me your invoices, master of the voice. Oh my god. So, I probably mentioned this before. I've been on keto for a while now, and my mom just figured out how to do keto ice cream with like raspberries and chocolate sauce. This isn't a diet. This is witchcraft. This looks so shitty. I just can't even. I can't even work on this. This is just so bad. I would have to start over again, and I will at some point. But we already released that, and I don't need to think about it right now. Kind of want to finish her. She looks wonky in the eyes a little bit. But I think what I need to actually work on is because Divisible Man is coming. And Divisible Man is a pretty exciting module. And so we're gonna try and do something here that's a little bit out there. We'll see how it works. So I'm gonna find a chaise lounge painting. Just somebody on or sitting near or with a chaise lounge. Let's see here. Something classic. Ich Omnibus. By the way, just picked up, if you get a chance, Ich Omnibus by Jesse and Paul Brown is amazing. It is so good. I haven't read the whole thing. I'm on my way through the second English comic book in that, but super good. Paul Brown illustration on Instagram. Paul Brown is a fantastic artist, and I gotta say, I'm really fucking excited that we are working with Paul on an upcoming project that I might as well talk about here. I don't think I have any compelling reasons not to. So I may have mentioned this before on stream, but it's worth talking about. Wow, this is a really nice chaise lounge. I feel like I kind of need one of these. This is super nice. But I kind of need one without like arms there, right? I need some way. You can't even see what I'm saying, so it doesn't matter. You don't care. Let's change that. Let's see if I can. Actually, hold on. I'm gonna do the swibby swabba. Swabba swabba tap. What? That didn't. That didn't. Okay. Oh wait. No. Okay. Let me fix this. Oh, the buzz. With the buzz. The fuck? Buzz. Yeah, Dave Greco's online. Yay! God, he's so fucking good. Oh, I wish I was as talented as Dave Greco and also as skilled and also spent as much time painting as he did, because then I'd actually be good. Holy shit, Dave Greco, I love you. I mean, I love you with a human. You don't have to do it. It's not the kind of love that needs to be reciprocated. I just think you're an awesome artist. Yeah, this is the thing. This is the thing. The show. Shiz Lounge. Anyone? Some pretty good stuff here. There is some pretty good stuff here. Paint me like one of your French girls. I kind of like this one. I actually kind of think this might be the one. Yeah. I could also imagine it being this, like this kind of shape, where I replace the cigarette with like a paintbrush, and she has no other half. But I think, well, because it's not a she, so it's the artist, right? And he is half a person. So like, imagine I took this and kind of cut her in half and moved that half down onto the sofa. Maybe that's the process I need to go through first, is just take something like this onto let's see, can I find it? A Young Lady Reclining on a Chaise Lounge by Negi Art. So beautiful. Swipe. No? Okay, let's just save it. We'll get into that. Chaise Lounge, fine. This is Madeleine Jean Lemar, a young lady reclining on a chaise lounge. So this is, wow, it's painted in the late 1800s. Watercolor on paper. Seal. Huh. Interesting. Interesting. All right, let's switch back to the Photoshop mode. I feel like, am I? Ooh, look at that. That's interesting. Interesting. So yeah, I apparently had something something wrong, which is common, I think, for me. But I'm gonna grab this Face Lounge here. And we're just gonna copy everything. We're gonna paste it over here for now. And I'm going to edit, transform, scale, so we can get this. I mean, it doesn't really need to be scaled at all, because I'm ultimately going to be kind of repainting it. But one of the things that I'm trying to become more practiced about is not really, like, if what I'm trying to paint already has a good structure reference, just using that and trying to become more flexible about where, like what's what's borrowing, what's stealing, right? Because we're gonna end up doing a shitload of work anyway on this. No reason I should have to learn. Well, there is a reason I should have to learn, but I simply don't have time to. So we're gonna start with it, all the advantages we can get. Oh, that's so fucking good. All right, so I'm gonna get this. Actually, hell, let's just let's do a thing here. So I think what I'm gonna do, I'm actually gonna go back to full screen here, and one of the things I really like about this actually is the palette. So I'm going to, yeah, I think I'm just gonna color the palette colors right onto the right. Probably a little bit brighter here. Not much, not by much. And then get this really nice kind of red down here. It's kind of orange here. Goes up to this in peach color. Stuff there. And then this is our flesh shadow. This is our flesh highlight. I think we get a couple more. Not sure if these are the same colors or different, to be perfectly honest. They seem a little seems all right. There is a couple of browns in here that are probably worth looking at. And then this pink in here. And then I think this like blue-green down here. Okay. Okay, so now I can go back to this here and kind of start with what I think is the base color on our new layer, right? So you can kind of this is this little table here is actually carrying a lot of visual interest in this painting. Kind of cool. Kind of love it. I will have to figure out how to make that work. And then I think this, so this pillow here is fine the way it is. Get this down here. And we'll get this down here. And then, let's see, I think, oh, I didn't get the, I must not have, I totally ignored getting these colors here. So let's pick some of these as well. Go back up to my palette layer. By the way, it's first time using a palette layer, so save your applause. Save your applause. But yeah, just another part of the I am learning how to paint finally process. But we'll see. I don't know that I necessarily nailed it. Also, I've definitely missed the wall in the background. And that's kind of where I need like a lot of strengthening, is figuring out how to play more with like light and color correctly. Okay. All right. Let's bring this down again. 45 with 2 zigzags. Baby, that's all we need. Go to the bar, get the dough, smoke that tumbleweed. As the marijuana bar, we could take our turn. Them dirty rap songs. Hit the bone like Cheech and Chong. Sell tapes from here to Hong Kong. So roll, roll, roll and joint. Kit Kat sees the stems. The high as hell right through Palmdale, skating on Dayton rims. So I'm gonna clip that, paste it, and then the idea here is, can it be brought down into the rest of the work down here? And I think the answer is mostly going to be found somewhere. Let's see. So yeah, I guess it's really not a very bump. So yeah, now this pillow needs to really carry, right? So where's my what were the pillow colors? I thought I had gotten, yeah, I think it's this red here. So I'm gonna bring this down here and think, yeah. Oh, sorry. That's what I want. Oh gosh. Oh, that's so funny. Okay, that's interesting. Yep, that's fine. Okay, this. Grab this color. Thank you. And get this. A pillow there. Actually, I think that's the red in the carpet. Really, this should be the color. And this is like the majority of the light side of the pillow. And then this is like the lightest part of the pillow, which is textured a bit. And then I think there's like basically because they're laying into it, it's gotta have like these kind of creases in it like that. If that makes sense. And then largely just gonna kind of paint over her with, I think these are my flesh tones here. Yeah, that looks like my flesh tones. I'm just gonna paint over her with some new. So this is half a head, a little bit of neck, shoulder, and in this case, in her case, the shoulder reaches in, but in our case, I think we want the arm coming out like this, and like a hand holding a brush, right, is kind of the idea. And then here is, I think this is the leg. One, so this is probably too wide here, too wide. Now I can probably, oops. Yeah, fuck. This is absolutely, I can't believe I just did that. Cancel. I get to repeat it again. Why? Because I'm an idiot. That's why. All right, it's fine. It's fine. This is fine. So we're gonna buckle down here, and this was obviously too wide. So I think having kind of a thinner leg, because this kind of feels like it's two legs here. That goes down here, and I feel like that seems about right. And then maybe you can just get the brush like that. And then I should be able to get rid of this. And we're kind of starting to get there a little bit. And then I think what I need to do now is kind of finish the couch, right? So we have kind of this couch here. And then the top of the couch. Important shade difference, I guess. I think even comes back here, right? This is kind of, can find some purchase over here. And then, yeah, I think we can even hit it again. So real simple, does not have to be really well thought out at this point. It can just kind of be some shapes on there. But most importantly, the shape is starting to look like a shape, which is what shapes are supposed to do. God damn it. They told me to live my life. So there's our, back to this, and we're gonna just, oops. Wait a minute. Can't fucking do this now. Okay. No, we're good. Okay. So now we're gonna put the face going here with the nose. That, and then get some light on this part of the body. I think there's pretty substantial light in this part of the body. And there is some question as to how much clothing, in fact, it is unclear in the module how much clothing Wright is wearing. I am personally of the belief that Wright is a nudist, but I think that would change some of the parameters of my book. In pretty destructive ways. I'm going to be back in just 2 seconds. I'm going to take this to the sink and grab my water. Thanks for taking 2 seconds. Nothing, I'm just making noises. No super awesome ice cream though. Don't wanna close my eyes. Don't wanna go to sleep cause I'll miss you, baby. Alright. So, I'm thinking this little end table here is gonna get a little bit of love real quick. And, actually going to, so something I've been learning a lot about lately is how to mix like warm and cool colors. So I think, what was this from again? I can't remember what any of these colors are from. It's so bad. And I don't see them. I have the worst time with like painting color. I'm so bad at it. Well, let's focus on where we're at. Let's just get kind of where we're at here. Oh right, this is the dress. This is the outfit. So this might be appropriate. Oh, let's do a new layer. This might be appropriate, like kind of, oh, here's his robe thingy or whatever. Or is this the brown? I feel like this might be the brown for this. I'm such an idiot. Let's try it. Yeah, that looks actually proper. And then I think I'm just going to change the structure of this on the fly a little bit by removing one of the legs. So, yeah, I think that will function just fine. There's a little end table there. And yeah, see, just stealing a little bit of structure. Like that's not the end of the world. It's not a ton of, it's not like it doesn't look like the original, not even close. But it definitely implies what's going on with the structure here. Shape language, I guess, that's already in place. Now, I don't think oils and roses are necessarily what this person would have on their by their chef lounge. Um, So, among the greatest fucking movies of all time, if you haven't seen it, is Orgasmo. I'm pretty sure this is So the dark set, I don't know. I'm so confused as to what part of this is the dark part of the fucking clothing, but we're just gonna try. And this is gonna be kind of flung over the top here, and then kind of do some basically like what the original painting was doing, where it just kind of flops there, and then maybe shows just a touch of knee, just a little sub knee leg. Let's punch this up, fill in this block. Blocks of color save my life, make me do less work when I wanna have my life. Blocks of color work. Right. If it doesn't seem like I've been kind of nuts from work all day, that's like the fucking craziest weird day at work. It was anti-good. It was bad. Almost every way that work can be, which is pretty funny in itself, really. Okay, this is not. Doesn't quite look right. Well, we will fuck with that a little bit later. This is just. And it's still just blocking out. I don't want to. I'm not trying to commit too hard to anything here. I'm just trying to get some shapes and some forms. And I think here we're gonna dip. Well, let's see, I do need. So we do need like something here that's gonna kind of stand out. So I think a bottle wine probably an appropriate start. Then, oops, maybe like a little. A pile of bowls. Maybe some. Oops. The fuck am I? Oh. Ooh. Good. I'll do those. I don't know. I kind of like those actually. I'm gonna keep those there, but we're gonna paint this on a new layer. So it'll be a little bit confusing later what all this stuff is, but I'm gonna end up merging it all and painting over it anyway. And I've already got that, so we can just paint some paper here. Okay. Cool. I feel like is this the color? This feels like the rose color. I'm trying to find what the kind of shade color is for the. I could just look at it honestly. Probably not a shade color for the fabric because it's like all just white all the time. But in my case, I have some little bit of shade need to get thrown. Throw a little bit of shade. All right. Let's hide this. Oops. Let's hide our base layer real quick and see if we are. Son of a. Okay, we're starting to achieve some kind of structural cohesion. A little bit. And I think I could be wrong here. Yeah, so this is the pillow. I think we can just kind of fill this pillow in here a little bit. And then I think also behind all of this, I need to kind of set a global kind of tone. And it's going to be in the desaturated side. I want it to be, we're going to try this. I don't know that it's going to work, but we're going to try it. Because I have a feeling that it's actually going to work with a lot of these colors. They will stand out sufficiently if I can pop them up. What happens if we do something like, oops. get rid of some of it around some of these parts where it might be making it look greener now. No, I think it's probably honestly, I could almost certainly mellow it out a little bit. Yeah, something in that register is probably about fine. It's so interesting to me how like desaturated paint most pigment is that you really want to be using. I've always been like, oh yeah, just lean into those saturated colors, and like, nope, not the business, not the way to do it in fucking digital paintings. At least it's like, you kind of want to, oops, you really kind of want to resist that, which is so surprising to me. I'm just kind of endlessly surprised with how different digital painting is than what I had in mind of it being, right? Like you think you know things about art, you really kind of misinformed. Like I did not, I never went to school for any of this stuff, so it's like I keep hearing the stories about people who were talented right as kids, and that how talent like I was watching this great video the other day about how talent's kind of like a thief. You know, it's like it's this thing that like yeah, it's there for a while and it helps you for a while until it doesn't, and when it doesn't, it can really have actually a pretty negative impact on your progression in a field or a topic of study. And I'd say I've experienced that for a good lot in my life. Like I was not, I have not historically been a very disciplined kind of anything. Like I guess I'm a relatively disciplined software engineer, but even that, you know, I've definitely cut corners. Boo-hoo. Although you show me an engineer who hasn't cut any corners at all, I will buy you a beer, because I don't think those fucking exist either. I do know a few really good engineers, but it's kind of the name of the game, right? Like being ingenious has to do with finding clever ways to save time and become more efficient and stuff. And then yeah, I think some crumpled up paper here. Looks fine. Then where did we determine this was? I think it's bowls, right? So let's actually let's grab this color. Let's see where it goes in the upper, just a little bit up. And shrink this down a little bit. Just kind of paint this on here and just see if we can get a little bit of a read on the stack of bowls. It all kind of does look like a little stack of bowls. That's hella funny. So amazing to me, like how little it kind of takes sometimes to get something to not like that. You know, they say it's true. The eye does like 90% of the work, right? It's like your human eye is just like super good at being like, yep, it's a bowl, it's a stack of bowls, fine, no problem. I see it. You see it? Of course you see it. There. Yeah, feel me. Feel me. Hello, baby boopers. It was good to have you on my stream. On my streaming. And see, this is one of the dangers of doing this is like, I'm super comfortable flinging that little fucking dial around and just being like, oh yeah, turn that shit up to 11. And it turns out not having that subtlety, the subtle ability to kind of set some colors down like just a little bit definitely breaks images. Like I have ruined my shit, but ho. In fact, I think we're actually just going to desaturate a little bit. We're not even gonna go that much higher in the paint tone here, and then I'm just gonna get this, rub at the bottom, kind of a little bit, All right, and now we need to start kind of thinking about our facial structure here, which is probably almost certainly something I should have thought about in the before time. But here we are. And shitting in a paint itself. So we're going to start with this dark here so we can start getting some interesting hair shape, I think. Did I punch new? No, I did not. Let's get a new one going for this. I kind of like the idea that this guy has like kind of crazy Einsteinian hair, or at least this half of him do. And there is little to nothing you can do to change my headcanon about this, so going with the way I say it is. Isn't that fun? Isn't that nice? So good. Alright, and then I'm going to try and get a little bit of face shape in here, which is going to be a little bit hard because one of the things I think that helps something read as human, right, is this kind of, it's two eye sockets and a fucking, you know, yeah. See, it's, yeah, you kind of don't get it for free here. You got to really work to get a face kind of come out of it, and then you kind of have to figure out how do I make that fit within the context of like this red pillow. I don't know. Any words of wisdom from the chat? No chatty dory today? No wicca chatta? Okay, that's fine. Well, I'm glad you're here anyway. I hope you are enjoying watching me steadily go mad. Man, I honestly, I really hope that anybody who is here or sees this ever, like, knows how many fucks I give about creating really good content for like our favorite hobby, and our favorite hobby not being like, oh, it's just a dragon. No, I am excited by the idea that people get around tables or fires and tell stories together that have an impact on them, right? Like telling a story. The thing that I love most about Dungeons and Dragons is storytelling is so fundamental to the human experience. You will never meet a human who doesn't do it basically constantly. Where all stories that we tell ourselves basically all of the time, like there's no time where you're like, wow, I had this really clear moment of prescience and I realized that, stories are just stories and I am not the story I tell myself. Like that's not a thing. You kind of in a lot of ways are very inseparable from the story of you, right? Like uh and so with that being said, right, like how critical of a skill, right, for being like a happy human being is storytelling. And I gotta say, I think it's pretty fundamental. I think people who can become practiced storytellers, yeah, they just become more uh, fluent and flexible and capable of kind of motivating themselves and motivating others. And okay, I think we're a little off rails here. Actually, I'm gonna say the head is too big. It's sad. It does happen. Also, probably the leg is too small. Now that I'm looking at it, like the rest of the body is probably a bit too small. I think that basically the head is just too big. So we're gonna do what I love to do when shit like this happens, and we're gonna cheat. And it's not even cheating because this looks like garbage. I'm gonna have to fix this for a long time. So it's not like I'm getting a lot out of doing this. Why do I feel like every time I take a shortcut in art, I'm cheating somehow? Why is that? What is that? Oh crap, did I just do the thing that I wasn't supposed to do? Hold on, hold on. Yep. Okay, Control Z, Control Z. Let's get back to, yes, I want to keep that layer separate because that's my palette. And then I want to, okay, yeah, again, cool. Merge layers, please. Bonk, bonk, cool. We good. We're rocking and rolling. Only forgot to grab my water, but it's right here though. We good. Oh. I'd also like to take this opportunity to thank my very dear friend Kishan for joining our Patreon. What a sweet little sweetheart. Among some of my favorite people in the Bay Area that I sadly left behind, in the physical sense. But yeah, we got to hang out the other day and kind of just chill out and talk about some stuff and catch up a little bit. And it was a fucking joy. You know, it's funny. I met Kishan at a rave party in like a very absurd environment and condition, and we ended up having some kind of chat about something. Next thing I knew, Kishan was like hitting me up on LinkedIn and the work things and being like, "Hey, I'm like a programmer." And I was like, "Oh yeah, oh how you doing on this? What are you doing on this?" So like I think we may have gone to like a couple of little meetups or something, maybe, or maybe not. Maybe he had just told me about something he had gone on and or gone to. And what am I doing? I'm supposed to be fixing his face. I am fucking around like max fuckage. I think no, no. Dang it. Okay, let's try again. So just gonna grab this part. That. Gonna switch to this, and we're gonna edit, transform, scale. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Okay. I'm just gonna bring it down a notch. Maybe too much. Maybe too much. Too much. Too much. There. Probably right about there. That seems about right. All right. Let's do this again. So anyway, so yeah, Kitchen, I got to work with finally at at Get Better when I worked at Get Better Inc. In California. Which, by the way, John Stockdale, if you ever get this message, I have your computer. Like, come get it. Dude, I'm in Vancouver. I have no idea where to send it, and I'm kind of like not really interested in paying the postage. But I do have your Mac. Be happy to give it to you. No real need for it. I have my own computer problems. I don't need. It's so funny, like regular expressions, you know? Oh, fucking cool. I'll use a regular expression to solve this problem. Now I've got two problems. Oh, cool. I'll use a computer to solve this problem. Now I've got two problems. Okay, I think we're kind of starting to see something that's kind of resembling what I'm trying to do here. Just go ahead and put some. Really? Oh, fuck it. I'm actually just gonna way in here. Just do this. It's gonna be hard. This line. Just gonna go. Let's get like a, you know, I'm thinking actually. Okay. this, punch this up a bit, kind of just paint right into that. Adam C. Eunice is live. That's another cat I like following. He's got some really cool, really cool video game art. I like all of his animations and stuff. He does a lot of pics. Very cool creator. Oh my god, and Bonbon's online too. Holy shit. Everybody's streaming on Thursdays, which is awesome. I would actually not mind cutting a little bit early to go check out some of these streams, man. This is some the high quality content night Thursday night. You know what's interesting about this is actually there's kind of no compelling reason that the neck wouldn't be literally the same color as that unless the hair was somehow kind of there, but I don't think it is. And I think I'm just gonna go with that. And then I do need an ear here, which I think is supposed to be that. Do a little bit of this here. Grab this and just have some. And then I think I could be wrong about this. I'm gonna zoom out a bit. You know what? This is starting to look. That's starting to look not bad. Still needs some work down here, I feel, and this obviously needs some finishing. But I think it's starting to read. It's very weird trying to paint half a person and getting it to read as a person. And this will ultimately, the plan is anyway, this will ultimately be painted into open. Where is my muse? So if I grab everything here, except for the white background, C, and then we come over here, and we Control Shift V or Control V. I edit, transform, scale. So yeah, I think if she lines up on the right axis of this. Oh crap, I got the green in on the. Okay, I'll have to delete that. Let's kind of do that because I don't really like her being back there like that, but I do want her in the painting. Oh, you know what I should do is kind of blend together the scarves that she's wearing. I also need to finish these hands up here and kind of finish this painting in general. But I think that actually looks pretty good. Let me hide the palette real quick so we can see it. Yeah, that's a pretty good start. No Picasso. It is a good enough start. I wonder if this is just better without the legs showing through there, like. This, and we've captured light here, like this, and then we'll get like a. And then it kind of hits the floor, and you get this there angle here. Hey, you got a minute to talk about departure dates for England? I fucking totally do. And if we talk about it on stream. Not a problem at all. All right. Guess I'll just do this, and we will see. We will see if you can hear my friend. We shall see. Oh, something went wrong. Oh, right. I can't do video because of that, but I think we can do this part. Oh God.
Hello.
Hello.
How are you?
Good. How are you?
Not bad.
Dope.
I guess you don't actually need it to be video.
Oh, I actually can't have it be video for me. I think I can
That's
turn you on, but I can't.
Oh. Doesn't matter. I can turn my cam on or off your call.
Well, I would always be happy to see your face. I cannot turn my
Right.
camera on this while I am also streaming.
That's fine.
Yeah. So, technical limitation of the universe. But if you're interested, I am painting on.
Yeah, you're on your Twitch.
Yeah, on the Twitch and the Facebook and the YouTubes. All streaming the same thing. Multi-channel. It's the future. Anyway. So.
I'll be over that and mute it so I don't get any feedback. And I can look at your painting.
Good call.
Nice.
All right. So yeah, so this is I am working on the I'm calling it Right and the Muse.
Very cool.
Thank you. So yeah, let's talk Europe vacation.
Yeah. So in terms of just having a pretty good idea when seat sales tend to be, I think our best departure date is the 29th.
Okay.
But if a better deal is available on the 28th or 30th, we can take it.
Okay.
But yeah, best to hit the 29th because that gives us the right amount of time to like have a day to settle in before going to do D&D in the castle.
Yeah. D&D in a castle.
Okay, but return date. That's the question.
I don't. Can I be really fucking honest with you? I mean, I want to come back, but like I've never been to Europe before. I would kind of adore the opportunity to like just go ham up in Europe for like a week or two.
Oh, that's all you. Yeah, I was gonna be like, are we talking a week and a half or 2 or 3? But I was like, for me, hamming up in Europe means grab your backpack and don't come back for 6 months.
Okay, well, I have a job. Also, we are starting a company. I don't know if you know this.
No, I know.
Okay.
So, if you're like 2 would be some tremendous thing, right? Then let's do 2 weeks. insist on being fairly cheap about accommodation for the second, right?
Yeah, that's fine.
So like, see if we can work out a couch surf or a hustling situation or something.
Yeah.
But 2 weeks me coming back like the 12th-ish. Week and like 1 week be coming back the 5th, but that is basically just the weekend, right? So a week after that is the 12th.
Yes. Okay.
So that's where I'm like, really 2 weeks is 1 week of Englandy stuff and most of a week of D&D stuff.
Yeah, and I think yeah. That sounds great.
So yeah, okay. I'll try and aim for the 29th to leave, the 12th to come back, and be slightly flexible on either side if the money can be saved from it.
Cool. Yes, that sounds perfect.
Yes. All right. That is settled. We'll figure out the rest of the shit after. But I can set up flight notifications now so that when there are seat sales, I get a ping about it.
Awesome. I also wanted to discuss with you if you are interested in potentially playing adventurer in the video.
Oh yeah, I think I would really like to do that.
Okay.
Throw it on my.
Yeah. There was very little chance I was going to ask anybody else, and if you said no, I think I was basically going to insist. So.
Yeah, no, I definitely want to do that, especially we'll work on the script together, and then I can be like, oh, well, I'm going to change this a little to this line because I both am writing it and the one speaking it, so I know it sounds natural to me.
Can I just say it's kind of our baby? Like we came up with all that shit sitting around together, and it's so funny because like having it storyboarded by Gus or Mateus has been like, it's funny how much I have to like explain the shots to Mateus. Whereas they're super clear in my mind. I'm relatively certain that they're super clear in your mind, but I totally get it that like explaining it to somebody the way I explain it, like you don't get it right away. It takes a minute. Like it's a little tricky.
I think I'm going to be able to write it in such a way that like makes it sound what it is.
Yeah.
I just got a call from my mom that I need to return.
Oh, okay.
It's probably about all this, so call you back later if you want, but I'll go for now and message you later if I'm free.
All right, cool. I'll talk to you later.
All right, bye.
Bye. What are these cryptic things of which Gabriel is speaking? Videos. Adventurer. What does he mean? Well, we are working on creating a video that kind of articulates our love for absurdist surrealism and bizarre fantasy. And we're making that video for a couple of reasons. One is that I really want a video for the Patreon. I don't have like a lot of patrons, and I think part of that comes down to the fact that I'm really bad at like asking people to support the project, because I feel very responsible for I'm just gonna level with the stream here. Like, making adventure modules is not cheap, it turns out. Especially if you are kind of, staunchly into paying kind of market prices for things. And so, like, part of this whole exercise of Watch Your DM has been figuring out, like, okay, well, how much does it cost to write adventure modules, right? Like, at what pace can it be done for money? And to say that it's being done for money is kind of disingenuous, because the reality is, like, me and everybody who works on these obviously is doing it because we love it. But I will tell you, if you're trying to do something with a team of professional adults, and you don't, and there is no way that they, they are not going to recoup that time or be paid for that time, but they're making a product that is intended to be a market product. That's a very hard sell. That's not a very comfortable conversation to have, and it's not really a good way to do business, I think. And it sucks because, like, as just a creator, like, that's, in many cases, that's kind of all you have, right? That's like, it's just an unfortunate nature of the beast thing. But so figuring out how much it costs for to produce an adventure module has been a big part of this exercise. And another part of that exercise that we are coming to quickly is how do Kickstarter, right? How to do it. And so yeah, like, we don't have answers to those questions really. And so we need to start figuring them out. And that's been a lot of this this last week especially has been, we have made decisions about what our Kickstarter is going to be. We have determined more solidly what kind of the vibe of the company is, like what kind of products are we making, how do we stand apart, what's our niche, who is our audience, what do they care about, right? Like, so it's been a lot of kind of existential realization kind of work happening behind the scenes at good old Latter-day Weird Adventures for Adventurous Weirdos. Which is how I'm going to say it from now on. But yeah, anyway, the point of all that was we are making a Patreon video so that we can simultaneously improve the quality of the Patreon portal and get people, I think, a better sense of the type of production stuff we're doing and where we're trying to go with it and what we're intending to deliver and how we add value. And this is actually starting to look really good. It's not perfect. But nowhere near perfect, but I do really like it. I feel like she's actually the one who kind of stands out as like being wrong here. She needs some softer, warmer tones in her skin. Like I went overboard on the blending on this Muse, and now it's just a little wonky looking. Like that. That looks better. Anyway, and so yeah, with a Kickstarter looming, right? We are planning. You heard it here first. We are planning a Kickstarter for 2022. And it's going to be really big. We're very excited about it. We are planning a 250-page hardbound volume with levels of art density that is competitive with top of the line products. Like, think, Humblewood, Wizards of the Coast levels of production. At least that's the goal, right? Like, we have a better runway, kind of have a plan. That plan is shaping up every day, so that's gonna, the plan is gonna be evolving. But for that plan to evolve kind of successfully, I need to answer some kind of fundamental question. Jesus, what is up with this? Why not? That is the black brown, right? Why is it coming out? There we go. Oh, there we go. Oh, there we go. Okay. What the fuck, man? All right. Cool. Good here. Shade there. Shade there. I like the little papers in the bowls in there. I think those are kind of working. I'm actually gonna grab this and scale it and kind of transform it a little bit, so I don't have to think about it as much anymore, and kind of move it up here. God, yeah, I'm loving this. I'm loving this ability to just, palette, cool, palette layer, slap it down, and now I can just pick from colors if I need to. That's really fantastic. Now that I have her in the painting, I may need to kind of deal with that and kind of upscale that a little bit. But I think by and large she looks pretty good. Anyway, so yeah, so the plan is to do a really big Kickstarter book. Hopefully at the beginning of 2022. We are actually trying to line it up with the trip that we're taking to Europe for D&D in a castle. You have to play with fucking Abria Iyengar, if you can believe that. If you're into the Critical Role scene, of course you know who that is. If you're into Dimension 20, you know who that is. Abrea is a massive influence on many people's Dungeons and Dragons and other role playing experiences, and it's just a phenomenal DM. I could literally watch her work all day. I think she's a real talent, and so we were fortunate enough, I think, to get some table time with her, which is I'm very excited about, and gonna honestly kind of use the opportunity around all these bigwig D&D nerds to take a couple of pictures with them, and wouldn't suck to get a couple eyes in the Kickstarter and just get to hang out with them and maybe show them some of the stuff we're working on for the Kickstarter. And who knows, maybe it'll be something they're into too. It's kind of a weird thing, it's like you work really hard to create something, and then it turns out the creation was not the hardest part. Like, turns out the hardest part is almost across the board always like gonna be promotion and getting people to see what you're working on. So yeah, that's kind of the plan for that. This is looking pretty fucking solid. It looks a little lumpy and weird up here, but I think I can get rid of some of this detail, and I feel like maybe I can get rid of some of this shape right there. Maybe a little bit smoother gradient back here, I feel like. Oh, this is fun. This is a fun painting. Austin, you come up with the coolest shit, dude. I love painting your ideas. They're totally fucking bizarre, and it just works. It's so much fun to do. Ugh. Anyway, so yeah, very exciting times ahead. I was actually able to this week secure, like verbals, from the artists that I want working on the project. All of them were enthusiastic about working with Watcher DM again, so that was good. I think if there's one thing we've been able to accomplish, like since we kind of started this project, is like we have bought some magnificent art. We have commissioned it and created it. That's not what I was. That's not the color I picked. Is it? Um, this is interesting, man. It can be so tricky sometimes to get colors to look natural. So challenging sometimes. Like, you don't think often about. I guess I don't personally think often about how this stuff works in terms of texture and shape, and so I tend to kind of not know what I'm doing when I'm pushing these values around. It surprises me sometimes how something just doesn't look right. That I feel like should look right, right? Like this over here, I think looks pretty believable given my lack of actual talent or skill. Like it's starting to kind of get there. This over here, on the other hand, needs a drop down in value, and we need to want to kind of get some really nice stuff in here where like the cloth is coming up against the skin. So kind of this, like that, and then yeah, we just kind of get our elbow here and our arm here. And I think what I really need is for this arm to be more arm. It's right now kind of feeling like it's got a little translucent. And it's kind of wedged in there with lines that are really, really thick. So lines. And I realize I'm painting over the highlight layer, but that's kind of because I want to redo it. It's a little something wrong with that. I'm gonna give it another try. All right, we're at an hour and a half. I'm sweating good. I'm gonna hit the fan real quick. But yeah, so the new motto and everything for Watcher DM, it's kind of a manifestation of something I've been a fan of for quite some time, which is Rick and Morty. That's fine. Just get this up here. Get this color. So I'm a big fan of Rick and Morty and kind of that ilk, that kind of brand of absurdity. And I played the Rick and Morty I ran. Actually, you can see it. I may have talked about this on stream before, so I don't know. Ignore me because you're not going to tell me to shut up. But yeah, Rick and Morty. I played the Rick and Morty Dungeons and Dragons on video. Actually, I think I've got it on my VODs or something. I gotta love this. Oh my god, I kind of love this. This is kind of looking right. Right? Alright, alright, alright. I'm fucking with it. I'm fucking with it. I like it. God, I wish Austin was here to see this. He'd be like, "What are you doing?" This is crazy. I'm super interested to see how he reacts, actually. This guy's some hair just flopping around. I kind of like the idea that he's got like super big hair, kind of like his muse. That's probably sufficient for weirdness here. Looks fine. Looks fine for now. We'll clean it up a little later. There's a lot to go on this painting, so. All right. Well, I'll tell you what. We're gonna save this bad boy. We're going to save it as right and the muse Cool. And I'm gonna put this back up here, kind of mid-frame, and we're gonna do something that I very seldom do with paintings, digital paintings that I'm working on, and we're just gonna sit with it. And I'm gonna go read some random babbly boobly on the internet about Dungeons and Dragons, and we will just talk extemporaneously about that bullshit for a few minutes while we consider the art. Yummy. Yummy, yummy. All right. I'm going to double check. I know people like to comment on my Facebook video, and I don't see it because I'm not in the multi-stream thing because I can't reply on there. Not that I ever reply on chat anyway. I don't know what I'm worried about. Like, duh. All right. Groups. D&D DMs only. Are there any other DMs that use firearms? If so, what do you do to make them different from bows, crossbows, but not invalidate them? For clarification, I wanted to use firearms for the Renaissance period, similar to firearms in Warhammer. So yeah, I've used firearms before. Actually, I didn't really end up spending very much time making them very different from crossbows and bows and shit. Like, the way that I think about it is like a bow and arrow, a crossbow kind of specifically, is like, if you take a heavy crossbow and you take a 357 and you shoot them at a stack of phone books, like, they go almost the same depth. In fact, I think the heavy crossbow will go a little bit farther. And this is a surprising result, by the way. I was not prepared when I received this result, but we did test it back when I was a nerd doing Renaissance Festival, which I love Renaissance Festival. My buddy Stormy got to go to Renaissance Festival the other day. Awesome out. Go get him, Stormy. And also, I think my son got to go to Renaissance Festival this year. Lucky McLucky. I think for his birthday. Yeah. Renaissance Festival. Very, very good. When I was a teenager, I did Renaissance Festival, and I was with the Ian Abrach, Clan McClure, Scottish clan, Scottish historical reenactment clan in California, and we were making chainmail one day in Reno, and like, they came by with like a big ass crossbow, like this huge, like 200-pound crossbow or more. I honestly don't remember the poundage on the crossbow. It may have been much more. But yeah, they did the test in the backyard, like, against a stack of phone books. Like, how many phone books does it go through? And then they went and took a gun out to a gun range, did the same thing with the phone book. And I think the results were pretty much that the heavy crossbow won. So the power of a crossbow bow bullet, right, to kill is not so much in the hole it creates. Well, it is in the hole it creates, but like, the big difference is usually that the wound will close over the weapon in the case of a bow. And a crossbow, that was sometimes true. But if it punches through, right, you're bleeding. And I think that's actually the effect to go for. Let's say, no, it does the same damage as it does the same damage as a bow or a crossbow. But if you max damage, right, if you roll the max damage on it, it goes all the way through and applies the bleeding condition to the character. And the bleeding condition should just basically be like, you lose, like, I don't know, a d6 hit points every round from blood loss, like, until you're down. Because it does not take a ton of seconds of blood loss for you to become really quickly incapacitated and get knocked out. And so, to me, I think that's kind of like the missing... That's like the missing mechanic of Dungeons and Dragons that kind of has been for a long time. As like, okay, getting beat up with things can definitely hurt you and it will kill you eventually. But there's really no accounting for the fact that, like, if somebody stabs you with a sword and then pulls the sword out, right, you're gonna die faster from blood loss than from the cut of the sword, if that makes any sense. Of course it makes sense. That makes perfect sense. I'm a genius. So yeah, my ruling for firearms would be if you roll max damage with your firearm, apply the bleeding condition, and the bleeding condition would be on the beginning of their turn, roll a, I don't know, D4, D6. Probably should depend on the gauge. You maybe could have like a different, like this would be where you could get kind of fun with like the size of the ball, right? The size of the hole. That would be a fun way to apply that and make it differentiated between the weapons. Of course, I've also seen, I think the most common mechanic for that is from back in second edition. They had the blunderbuss, the flintlock, the musket, kind of things like that. It was an arquebus, is what they called it, right? It's the old school arquebus. And the arquebus it was a regular weapon. You could only like fire it once around. But if you rolled a 10 on your damage, you would just keep rolling until you stopped rolling 10s, and you would add all that together as your damage. And that's a pretty practical way to approach firearms. It's like, it's kind of like I just said, like, I guess the chances of killing somebody outright with a gun are higher because of if you hit them in the brain kind of thing. But I don't know, brain or heart, right? But that's also true of bow and arrow. So I don't really know. That's what I would do though. All right, D&D monsters and more. Troy Nelson writes an hour ago. Familiar patron idea: the grinning horror. The grinning horror is a tiny creature that relishes and satiates itself on the fear of others. This creature is a fragment of a much more horrifying being from the void. Its goals are threefold: scare as many mortals as possible, gather the essence of those who died in fear, and summon its other half from beyond the wall. Oh, the veil. Okay. Alright. I guess. I don't know. I think. Yeah. Why is he grinning? Gotta get why. Like, what's the. Yeah, seems weird. I don't know about grinning for that. It doesn't seem right for the fear thing. Hey, quick question. The other night, I had a player wielding the Sword of Zariel come face to face with the former angel, now evil, who murdered one of his childhood friends. At the end of the battle, he proceeded to absolutely torture and mutilate him. Well, that's unfortunate. Now, I know the sword prevents alignment changes, but he went into such detail about, God, what, really? Yeah, I'm not going to read that on stream. That's the kind of shit that, like, I don't want to read that. I don't want to talk about that on the internet. There's got to be some kind of consequences. Like, the sword's sentient now. Wouldn't it choose to leave or something? Yeah, like, your sword spends all of its time vomiting and, like, doesn't want to hang out with the character who owns it. That's fucked up. Let's see here. Okay, hold on. Saw this in my feed. This could be really fun. You choose a superpower, but the first person to reply can choose a side effect. Oh, that's pretty cool. Yeah, that kind of touches on some of the notions that we were applying about magic having costs that are kind of tricksy costs. Which we wrote. There was a great blog post by Gabe Hadley about that. I believe he did the cost of magic blog post. I'm relatively certain. But I have been fooled before. I could be wrong. I'll have to look it up. Would a good berry or two a day sustain an ancient dragon? The real question: can you get fat by eating too many good berries over a long period of time? I think that is the real fucking question. No more than you would from any other mundane berries. Oh. The dude. Gotta love the CT reference. But you are just as hungry as before. That's funny. Chrono Trigger! Nice. Enertron. I'll allow it. Sure, why not? Yeah, I think a lot of people are into that. I don't think it's. I mean, I don't know of a gold dragon who would want to subsist off of good berry. Obviously, I think a gold dragon probably doesn't really need to eat food at some level, right? It may hunger, but it is. I don't know. I have opinions about dragons and how they got that way, so I'm probably not the person to ask that one for. Okay, trying to toss a quick one shot together for my kid's birthday. Thinking party of 6, level 5 characters set in a swamp. Hit me with some swamp encounters. I'm drawing a blank. So I was writing one for the Gen Con contest or whatever that's about frogmen. Like there's these frogmen and these lizard folk. And I think it was like there's a temple in the swamp to a like a night hag basically, and she has, what was it, I think she has an agreement with the frog people and the lizard folk, and by agreement I mean she is holding them effectively hostage, but the frog people used to be regular people, right? They just used to be people, and the curse over them is such that like they cannot, like the people who would have known them as people can't recognize them and don't think and don't remember them, so they don't know to look for them. Like they're kind of fucked, and so they go in on this thing with her to like try and get, you know, back to the regular being regular people, and of course that doesn't go very well because the humans are like, ah, we're being attacked by frog people, and the lizard folk are in on that shit. And yeah, the party has to go like to the temple thing and kind of unseat the hag that's there after fighting a fucking army of lizard people and frog people. And I don't know, bad idea, good idea, could be both. Swamp encounter that I would definitely recommend. Dale Kingsmill talks about a swamp encounter she did with her family where she like she basically had a crocodile, an alligator, whatever, like, and it's very specific which one it is. I don't know which one it is, but she does. And you should go find the video. But the crocodile chomps on somebody, and she has them roll a grapple check. And as soon as the grapple fails, everybody's like, "Oh shit, they're gonna roll her under." And the idea is that like once a crocodile or alligator, I don't know which one it is, gets the person by the leg, they just roll, they twist in the water, and it rolls the person under and kind of disorients them and knocks them out. Which is a super cool effect that is super frightening and would be amazing for somebody's birthday, I think. So there you go. Thanks, Dale Kingsman. Neil Parker, what are some types of transaction that longer-lived races or other individuals in D&D might engage in that shorter-lived ones wouldn't, and vice versa? How might lifespan, high wisdom, etc. affect approaches to business? Yeah, this is an important question actually, because I think like one of the kind of failings of Dungeons and Dragons as how it's written and how it's played is the importance of monetary treasure as a thing. Like everything is kind of seen through the contextual economic lens of European colonialism in a way. Not in a way, in every way, right? Like it's exactly that. And like there's very little out there for playing outside of those boundaries and exploring kind of more meaningful notions of treasure and value. But I think if you do tap that keg, right, what you're going to find is that other value systems are much cooler, much more rich. One of the things that I would say a longer lived race probably has is they value their children less, because they live a really long time. They're not like they probably actually can't like and shouldn't have kids too frequently because they could very easily overpopulate and ruin things. So yeah, I think there's probably some of that. I think a lot of kind of your Euro-Christian ideas about monogamy probably do not apply largely to longer lived races. Um, you know, just kind of for practical reasons, it doesn't make a lot of sense. Long distance relationships are probably more common because you got a long time. Like you can hang out later. Like you don't have to be around each other and up each other's butt like all the time. Forever. Um, I think one of the things that's probably the most interesting about it is like as a long so here's the thing, right? Humans already are kind of thrill seeky because of how long we live, right? We live to be almost 100 years old. Like we have these times in our lives where we're really through, we're really into it. Like we're trying to go get that adrenaline and have a good time with it and stuff. And there's not like a lot of consideration into what that looks like for like an elf, right? How long does puberty last for an elf? Is it like, proportional? Is an elf like just breaking out and wanting to bang things for like hundreds of years? Like or 100 years, right? Like and maybe that explains the like horny bard pandemic, but I don't know. It just seems like an interesting thing. Like we as humans in the modern time highly prioritize sexuality and sexual attractiveness mostly because we're like that's kind of the marketing, right? Like there's some of that. Like obviously we want like we have biological, things that compel us to do that. Um but it's a big focal center and I don't think that elves would necessarily have that focus, or if they did have that focus, they'd probably be like full tilt about it. I think hedonism as a lifestyle is probably more believable in like long-lived races, where the challenge of doing things over time probably isn't like you're not in a hurry to accomplish great things, right? So you kind of have a different view of like what greatness is, what success is. You probably don't spend as much time chasing it, and in turn, you probably get a pretty good taste for some of that cool shit. You know what I'm saying? Some of that cool shit. Let's say an old PC died a while. Marco C. Cueva. Let's say an old PC died a while back. The group's wizard cut out a finger off its corpse and intends to use the 7th level spell, Resurrection, to bring him back to life. The spell's ability includes restoring any mortal wound and any missing body parts. What would your ruling be? Does the spell restore the rest of the body, or does the wizard need to wait to be able to cast the 9th level True Resurrection, which grants a new body if the original no longer exists? That's interesting. I think, yeah, resurrection would restore the body from a piece. That's what it says, right? Like the True Resurrection spell you have to use when you literally don't have any part of the body. That's funny. I love how like somebody answers this question and he's like, "Yeah, but like also it's homebrew." It's like, of course it's fucking homebrew. You said wizard casts resurrection, dude. Like I was there with you, but it's hella funny when people are like, "I'm a rules lawyer." It's like, yeah, but if this is homebrew, then it's like, oh, never mind. Then no point answering that question. Does anyone have a good idea on how to run a murder mystery on a D&D without it being too obvious? What do you mean too obvious, dude? Like there's kind of no such thing as too obvious. I don't know if you've ever tried to pass a hint to your players, but trust me, there's no such fucking thing as too obvious. All right, we're gonna dive back into this painting a little bit. Just gonna get some more strokes down, see if we can get something going on here. I feel like, you know what? You know what I feel like is wrong here? I feel like this needs to like come down here more. All right, that's a little bit better. And then this actually kind of worked out. And get this slightly lighter shade. It's the music that choose. Get the cool, get the cool shine. Get the cool, get the cool shine. Alright, check it out now. Bring it back up. Into the funk. Into the funk. Into the funk. Oh god. Oh good. Giddy giddy. Oh god, did I fucking draw that on the... I did it again, Chuck. This brush. Sparrow followed me on the Instagram. I got so many Instagram followers now. Thank you guys so much. It's so nice. Just paint daub here on the end. It has been so much fun creating content for people and getting to see their reactions and just like people going like, oh wow, yeah, that's hella fun, like that's crazy. Oh, I read that, like it was super great. Literally had somebody like tell me the other day, like in a message, they were like, I can't believe I haven't found your blog before. It's so good. That's like, oh, that's good. It feels good, man. So fucking stoked that we're able to like create some shit that, people in the bigger world are using. Like I'd been working on kind of doing D&D stuff, like, a little bit just for like my friends and stuff for a while. And it's just so rewarding to have that turn into something where this this arm structure here is actually kind of killing it a little bit, but I'm gonna fix it just a little bit. It's still not quite right. And then also I need to get some fingers here. I'm being followed by a finger shadow, finger shadow, finger shadow. Away, I won't have to talk, no. Sunday followed by moon shadow, moon shadow. Sleeping and hopping on the moon. Moon shadow, moon shadow. Shadow, moon shadow. Moon shadow, moon shadow. Never take long to find me. I ask the faithful light. All right, let's try one more thing here that I kind of want to see. Oh, good to boo. Don't do that. This is the one I want. The one that I want. Nope. All right, that's fine. That's fine. This is fine. Oops. This color. If you don't know, Cat Stevens, one of the great musicians of my youth. I love it very, very much. We got a new comment. I'm gonna go see if it's a real comment. I'm not gonna lie. Oh yeah. Yeah, this is garbage. Full on fucking garbage. It's a really good thing, you know, that we've gotten to the point where you can automate a lot of your bullshit and just be like, yep, that's a garbage thing. Get rid of it. I don't need it. Let's see if it shows up on my thing here. Comment waiting for approval. I want to not approve it. I want to anti-approve it. Can I do that from this? Holy smokes. Approve it, trash it, spam it. Spam it. Come on, give me the... What the fuck? Oh, right. Okay, it's not gonna let me do it because it looks suspicious. That's cool. That's pretty cool. Crack it open over here. All right, we are closing in on the 2-hour mark, which is, to be honest, right about the time that I need to call this bad boy Rodolph a Moth at gmail.com, huh? Mopweejax. Total garbage. Spam it. It's a bad man. Got a bad thing. This is absolutely astounding. Wow. Madness. Oh, that was... Oops. Oh, at least I didn't approve it. Mark as spam. Apply scheme. Cool. Thanks for thanks whoever your spam bot monster was. Thank you for that. Always a fine part of my day when I get to delete garbage from subhumans. That's doesn't suck at all. I think there may be some truth to the idea that like once you get like peppered with spam and hate mail, you've probably succeeded. Like that's when you know you've made the big time. There's enough people out there who are like, oh, yeah, that person's getting seen. Let's shit on their thing. Oh, Brenda McKay downloaded something. What'd you get? You got the Team of Transformation? I hope you like it. Kind of proud of that one. It's pretty fucking good. I think. In fact, I know it's really fucking good. In fact, oh god, I just got the second one. I got the second module. I got the writing for the second module for that today, which I need to start working on. So that's going to be a thing. It's pretty cool. Always nice to get some new stuff to work on. Also, if you're interested in The Divisible Man, which will be releasing next week, you can join our mailing list if you're not already on it, of course, to get it for free when it comes out. But if you absolutely cannot wait and have to have it now, you can get it by joining our Patreon, where patrons will be receiving early access to all of our module content, as well as a good amount of our blog posts content and stuff like that. We're really going to start focusing on delivering that stuff much earlier to kind of as early as possible, really, to the patrons of Watcher DM who, you know, bless them all. Like, it's super funny. I think they say, like, if your Patreon is all your friends, you don't really have a Patreon. But motherfucker, I've got a Patreon, and all my friends are the best. Like, I would not change my patrons for anything. They are some of the greatest people I know, to be perfectly honest. Um, got Stevie Alatorre on there, who if I haven't talked about her enough on my stream, I could go on for hours because she is just such an amazing, sweet person, and a great player and a lot of fun to hang out with. Um, I think I mentioned earlier my buddy Kishan who joined. Love Kishan with all my heart. Of course, Mandy Martian is on there. My amazing bard friend from California, whom I love very much. Um, and then, golly, who's my other patron? Double check it. I think Matthew Kahn from GamerX, and the gamer community back in San Francisco is one of my patrons, and love his work. I think he's doing the Toe Jam and Earl reboot or something really solid. It's so dope. It's so cool knowing these people and getting to work on this stuff. Yeah, let me see. I think that's everybody. Let me double check. If I left you out, it's not because I don't love you. It's Harry Stern, of course, fucking Harry Stern, right, the fifth one. Yeah, Harry Stern is goddamn amazing. Harry Stern is fucking awesome. Um, so Harry Stern is Sniz the Sneak. So if you've seen any of the art from before, or the many times that I've tried to draw this blue goblin, that's Sniz the Sneak. Um, and it's a character, portrayed by my friend Harry, who is actually an MC. He's a MC Tell out in the Bay Area and does lots of performances. Really, really talented. If you get out to Stamina, check out MC Tell. Um, but I think, and I could be wrong about this, but I'm pretty sure he like it was through kind of me and another friend of his, Johnny Edge, that we ended up getting into D&D, and he started playing, and like now he DMs his own games and shit, and has run like hella games. He's really, really talented, actually super talented as a dungeon master. Like, it was so obvious from day one too that he was just going to be a DM, because he just has this way of speaking, and he's very good at it. He's just very classically good at all the things, all the parts of being a DM. He is a twisted fuck. It's a very, very bent sense of humor stuff that he does that's pretty fun. Probably pretty risque, I'd say, for most tables, but pretty fun stuff nonetheless. I'm gonna shoot this up a little bit, this wine bottle. Whoa, that kind of made that look really good. That's kind of crazy. This little bowl here. I don't know why I'm so fixated on this little bowl, getting it to look right. I feel like if I kind of do this and like let the crumples live, this little space down here, some kind of volume shading like that. I don't know if that makes any sense. Probably go here. Probably go here. We're past 2 hours now, aren't we? We're 6 minutes past. I've gotten sucked into a fucking vortex. And this is how I die now. It's actually better than I was expecting, so I don't have a lot of complaints. Here a bit. I kind of want this to be like here more. That's fine. That's fine. That works great. In fact, I think that is going to work better for some of these other areas too. Get that over there and over here. You know what's interesting about this time here is it's starting to kind of look like a little reflection, you know? What we can do here is we can create this a little bit here, so probably do something like this. So this is the thing, then we some scroll work here a little bit maybe. And then over on this side, I'm gonna try and do the same thing here, right? And this comes up and comes this way. There's a little bit of scroll work there. But on this side, we can see that that's inset a little bit. I don't know if that works. Probably doesn't read at all, actually. We're not sure. We're gonna keep going with this idea. Boring tables don't exist. There's no such thing as a boring table. All tables are kind of interesting. But this probably goes farther this way, I think. This kind of goes to this here, maybe around this edge here. And then this kind of pull in. And actually, yeah, see, that's kind of the shape problem with the leg, is it just looks kind of too much like a chunky kind of attempt at being a leg. It doesn't actually look like it's got any real dimensions to it. And that is unsatisfactory. So, you know, put a little time on these legs. That come like that, actually. I think that's going to be good. So in here, maybe this kind of like here. And I think we bring it up here. And up here, kind of bring it in a little bit. Get some nice angle there, maybe. Maybe that's wrong. I don't fucking know. It's hard to tell. All right. Well, you crazy nerds, you have been hanging out with Watcher DM. My name is Gabriel Hernandez. I hope you like the painting we got to work on. Yeah, and I hope you'll check us out across the internet and continue to follow us. Share the love, you know? We got a lot of weird shit coming up. And you like fantasy, so you already like weird shit. We're just trying